Welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast. We have Itamar Novick with us today. Itamar is a founder and general partner at Recursive Venture in Berkeley, California. Very interesting fund there. Recursive Venture, top Silicon Valley seed fund. It's backing tech entrepreneur disrupting industry in data and AI. So right place at the right time. Itamar, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
First of all, Charles, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today, and I know you're calling from Mexico, so I'm actually trying to do more and more with the Mexican entrepreneurial community, and I think this is a great opportunity. So really appreciate the time, and thanks for everybody who's watching us, including live on LinkedIn. So a little bit about myself, because you've asked. I'll try to keep this short. Is the bottom line is I've been in startups for my entire career, which is 25 years, and I've been on all sides of the table. I'm a serial entrepreneur and executive in startups. My last company is called Life360. It's now a public company traded on the NASDAQ and the ASX in Australia. And I've kind of done almost every role you can imagine in a startup, from like started as an engineer, product management, business executive, and so on and so forth. I've also been investing for the last 15 years. Started my career on Sand Hill Road as an institutional VC, working for as a junior guy working for a bigger firm. Then I helped set up an incubator called Upwest, and I've been investing with the same, as a solo capitalist, the same thing I do today with Recursive Ventures for the last 14 years. And I've done over 150 investments in startups, helping them to get from 0 to 1, and then from 1 to a million and beyond. So that's really my passion, starting these companies, helping folks who are starting these companies, and help them, kind of get from 0 to 1, get off the ground.
And it seems you started out your life in Israel. Tell me about the move from Israel to US and how that shaped you.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's true. I'm Israeli originally, and I moved into the Bay Area 15 years ago. I always had a dream. This is weird. When I was a kid, my parents caught me holding an HBS Harvard Business School brochure. It's like, why are you a 14-year-old kid, holding what's with you in an MBA program? So I always had this dream to get an MBA in the US. And very fortunately, before I moved to the US, I spent a lot of time in Silicon Valley because I was working for this Israeli company, which had an office in Palo Alto, a company called Gigia. So I started coming into the Bay Area, and then I figured that, wow, I can actually get a top MBA in the Bay Area and go to Berkeley, Haas, which is where I went. So that combination of wanting to be in Silicon Valley and then, getting an MBA is what attracted me to move in 2010. And oh my God, it was exactly the right decision at the right time. Came into Silicon Valley in 2010 with this post, GFC, great financial crisis. There was so much opportunity. Mobile and cloud were just starting to unfold, and I was in the middle of all of it.
Very interesting. And Recursive Venture, how did that see the day of light? Why not start your own company? Why invest in a portfolio of companies instead?
Yeah. So I was running my company Life360 when I started Recursive Ventures in 2014. What happened was I kept, founders kept coming to me saying, hey, Itamar, you're super helpful. Do you want to invest as an angel? And I started doing more and more deals. And then a few friends of mine who run bigger venture firms came to me and said, Itamar, you're sending us all this amazing deal flow. Why don't you take, let's say, $1 million and run your own small firm? Well, and I was moonlighting. Basically, while I was building Life360, I was investing out of Recursive Ventures the whole time. And I actually built 2 funds while I was running Life360, Recursive 1 and Recursive 2. Did over 50, 60 investments through the Recursive brand. And was very fortunate to hit 2 decacorns and another 4 unicorns out of the Recursive portfolio.
You're also like an investor in AI companies. Like, when did you started your first AI investment, and how has your investment strategy changed since the ChatGPT days?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. So I started my career as a data engineer. And so I've always been doing a lot with data. And I guess I also built a significant data business. And to me, in many ways, AI is a massive extension of data. Obviously, it's much more than that. But, we always say that your AI is only as good as the underlying data, right? So I've started doing data and AI deals all the AI before generative AI came out, probably a decade ago, doing computer vision, machine learning, NLP stuff, with big focus on data. And then and I have a lot of my track record is actually tied to kind of data and old school AI. Then when generative AI came around, 3 years ago, I was like, wow, this is a massive acceleration across the board for the strategy of I've been investing in this area for years now, and now it's really going to be front and center. So as you mentioned, I was really best positioned to kind of start capturing this amazing new cycle that we're seeing now with AI.
Right. And tell me about consumer AI. It seems to be your field of expertise nowadays. Why that specific focus? Why not B2B, for example?
Yeah, actually, that it's interesting you're saying that. Consumer AI is only a very small portion of my investments. I just launched a new program where I'm doing 10 no hustle 100K checks in consumer AI companies. But actually, the majority of my investments are with B2B AI companies. So I do a little bit of both, but I'd say more B2B than consumer. But I think it's a very exciting time for consumer with AI now. It's really, VCs have been shying away, ignoring basically consumer, most VCs for the last 15 years, because basically what happened is we have this mega, company like Google, Meta, and others who kind of taken over, and it's very, very hard to untopple them. I think AI completely changes the paradigm because it creates this new, human machine interface. There's all those new things that AI can do for us as consumers that were not available before. And that presents an opportunity to disrupt some of the big players that control web and social and mobile with completely new services that could do so much and so much better. So I've basically put together there's actually a post in my itamarnovick.com blog about all the different areas like travel and shopping and personal finance and other areas where I think they're poised for a major, major disruption with AI. Very exciting times.
Interesting. And these 100K checks, tell me the thesis behind that one. What are your non-negotiable when you hand these?
Well, typically, it's got to be a consumer AI company. And I also want to see some signs, some signals of some, traction on the life cycle of consumers, whether it's acquisition, activation, retention, conversion to paid, whatnot. I want to see signs that basically consumer want this thing. But if I see those, I'm willing to invest pre-traction, which is what a lot of investors don't do, right? With consumer, it's like have and have not. If you have traction, great. Everybody wants you. If you don't have traction, people are like, I don't know if this is going to work. So it's really the bold who invest pre-traction. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Right. What are you tired of seeing in startups? What are some anti-patterns that you're looking for?
Wow. Okay. So you're spot on because people that have been following me know that I have this kind of long list of insights around startup anti-patterns. And it's actually a very important thing that I'm doing to help founders avoid all the pitfalls, all the mistakes that me and other people like me did. And here's the fallacy. Here's the thing that confuses a lot of founders. They focus on the success stories. It's like, oh, this founder is telling you about how he built this and built that, and this went amazing, blah, blah, blah. And that has a survival bias built into it. And actually, every company that's been successful has had a different path to success, kind of paved its own unique way. So it's very hard to win by trying to repeat somebody else's success. However, startup anti-patterns are all about all the things that feel intuitively like good things that you should do in the startup, but actually you shouldn't because they will destroy your startup. And I've written down 75 of them. And if you avoid falling into those 75 mistakes, I think your odds of success are much, much greater than just trying to copy what a successful founder told you on some pod that they did and worked for their company. You can learn much more from failure, and there's many more failures. Learn what to avoid and de-risk your startup than you can learn by just like listening to rah, 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 we did this amazing thing stories.
I'm also interested in learning, like the ego part, right? That you're looking for and that you're not looking for, because we need some ambition, right? But we don't need like overly egotistic founders, right? I think they can burn themselves. So what types of patterns are you looking at that level?
Yeah, look, ego can be helpful sometimes, but in startups, it's actually bad most of the time. Ego leads to arrogance. It leads to potentially not listening to your customers. It leads to a potential mindset of if we will build it, they will come, which often does not work well. I mean, there are outliers like Steve Jobs. He's like, I don't care what the user said. I'm not saying he said that, but like conceptually, like we don't care what people say. We have a vision about what the future should look like, and then we're going to go out and build that vision. That works, but only in the minority of cases. Most cases, most companies, successful companies that I've backed, have just been extremely good at learning from user feedback and and really like building their roadmap, building their product according to that. And I think ego can get in the way of that. Kind of like discovery, getting to product market fit, which is really the most important thing at the start of the startup journey. And that's why I tend to gravitate toward backing founders who have less ego, at least kind of in your face, and are more open to feedback.
Right. What's your criteria? Where'd you raise the bar for product market fit in consumer AI, for example?
Wow, consumer AI is really hard on product market fit. I mean, look, actually in consumer, product market fit is pretty easy to see because the data is there, right? It's driven by analytics. Like if you have super high NPS scores, word of mouth, like one user telling to another user, it's like, wow, you got to have that. And then you start seeing organic top of the funnel customer acquisition. Like users are coming in, you don't even know from where. Like suddenly you find that, hey, somebody's posting on this thing on Twitter and this and that. That's when you know you have product market fit, at least with a specific segment, right? Maybe it's your ICP, maybe not, but like in that segment, you're hitting out of the park. So in consumer, finding product market fit is actually easy. Not easy. Figuring out that you have product market fit is easy. Much easier than it is in B2B, where you have to get feedback from a lot of different customers and figure out whether they tell you this is a great product is just true for them, or whether it's true for another 50 of your next customers that feel that this is the right product. So that's a little bit harder in B2B.
And if you'd have to launch one consumer AI startup tomorrow, what would it be?
I don't know. I kind of want to gravitate for travel and experiences, and I'll tell you why. It's obviously a huge industry. It is dominated by the Expedias of the world, right? Like 2 or 3 OTA players who basically own everything, right? And they're very antiquated in a way. They're very transactional, and I think especially when it comes to travel, people want to connect to emotion. They're like, "Wow, this is my trip. Like we're going on vacation," and I think everything that's kind of driving the greasing oil in the industry is just transactions, like booking. I don't think that's what people want. People want experiences. I think they want the AI to help them understand what would be fun for them when they're on vacation, and that I think presents a huge opportunity, which is why I wrote a thesis about investing in this space.
Very interesting. Yeah, I hate traveling, and I'm saying that as a digital nomad, right? Like I traveled for 8 years every month for 8 years. So I think the airport experience is broken. I think there's been great startups like Kiwi that has facilitated that, but I think AI can make the experience so much better, right? Like from a customer experience standpoint, customer service. But yeah, like you said, it's very emotional. It's like you're looking forward to get there, but you need to be patient in the airport, in the plane. So there's like a big opportunity to actually change that. Curious, what are your top goals for this year? Like, what are you seeking to accomplish personally, but also with Recursive?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Well, first and foremost, I want to back, the best founders out there chasing audacious goals that are going to change the world with AI. I think we're in the first inning of AI, if you ask me, right? And I think there's multiple trillion-dollar companies sitting here in Silicon Valley, right, in front of us, and we're not seeing them yet, but they will come. because AI is probably bigger than the internet. It's probably as big as the invention of personal computing, right? It's at that level, because we're moving from having software that helps us get more productive to having AI that basically does the work for us. And that's a leap forward like we have not seen before. Plus, that all those different tech trends are compounding one upon the other, right? AI is being distributed faster with the power of mobile web, and cloud is enabling all those AI players to accelerate the development so they can offer you and me better services tomorrow. So really, for me and for my limited partners, my investors, the key is finding some of those breakthrough companies, which is what I'm very much focused on in 2025. So there's 6 more months for the year. I'm really doing everything that I can to find that next decacorn in AI, and writing a check probably every 4 or 5 weeks now out of Recursive Ventures, $500K to $1 million checks at the pre-seed stage, very actively.
Nice frequency. We've seen search being replaced by chat and ChatGPT. In your opinion, what could possibly replace feeds and follower model of Facebook, for example?
Oh, that's interesting. So first of all, yes, it's a good point. Not enough people are talking about that Google's share of search has, for the first time in known history, pretty much dropped below 90%. And I think that's happening because people, yes, they're using ChatGPT. I mean, I know it. I use ChatGPT for probably at least more than half of the time that I used to use Google. I actually think, I don't know if what I'm saying now is disagreeing with you, but I think like influencers and kind of that social model, I don't think it's actually going to be replaced by AI. I think it's the opposite. It's going to be empowered by AI. I think the future of a lot of different businesses, including venture capital and entrepreneurship, are going to be driven by individual influencers, the founders, who just get out there and very genuinely talk to their audience, which is what I'm trying to do myself. And AI can only accelerate that because, for example, I can do stuff like the Itamar version, the AI VC, which I've already put videos on LinkedIn, and we're quickly getting to a point where people can talk to my avatar and get advice on their term sheet and how to avoid VC horror stories, which is something that I write a lot about. So I think AI is going to empower influencers and social more than get to a point where it's in decline.
Where do you see the AI taking the job market in the next couple of years, and how would you be adapting your VC thesis to that?
Yeah, so I want to talk more broadly about society because, some people like Sam Altman actually bug me a lot, and I'll tell you why. I think the faster we get our head out of the sand and understand that AI is going to cause a massive reskilling of our, of both white collar and blue collar working classes. I think the faster we realize that, the faster we move forward as a society to help people upskill, reskill, adopt AI, the better off we would be. If not, we're going to find ourselves with millions of people without a job, without a purpose, without, just getting pushed to the sidelines of society. And then when I hear Sam going, up in Congress saying, no, this is nothing, AI is going to increase productivity. Yes, it will increase productivity, but that does not mean that people are not going to lose their jobs and have to find new jobs. And I think as a society, we're kind of putting our hands in the sand a little bit here, and we should stop and be more responsible as it comes to, everybody out there in the working force, help them proactively adjust to AI, move to other lines of work that would be available to them after AI takes over a lot of those different jobs. And if we don't do it proactively, we're going to be in trouble.
I think Sam has been quite transparent on the fact that he thinks this is actually going to happen. I think there's been CEOs that has been more transparent, like Dario from Anthropic, that said it would replace 90%. And last time I watched Sam with his COO on a panel, I think the COO was delusional. He was saying that Dario wasn't correct on that and sort of not being scientific, while Dario is a scientist. I'm in full agreement with the 90%. I just think it's human nature that a bunch of us want to just enjoy life, the hedonistic life, and not do anything and be paid the nice UBI allocation, while others of us, founders and CEOs, were meant to get out of our comfort zone, feel the pain, and advance humanity as a whole. Do you agree with that?
No, again, I don't know about the 90% number. Nobody has a crystal ball, including Dario. So great. Um, I just really think that I think people that don't have a job and a purpose in life, I think some people are okay with that. You can do early retirement, whatnot, but most people are not, right? And we've already gone through, at least here in the U.S. and San Francisco, where I live, we've gone through a lot of homelessness, and I think this has the potential to do more of that. Like again, push more people to the sidelines of society. That worries me a lot. And again, like where are we as a society doing stuff to help people learn AI and like integrate AI in their jobs? Where are we recognizing that? Let's talk about something. It's blue collar, but let's talk about something like driving, semi trailers. We know that AI is going to be doing that. And is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Is it 15 years? I don't know, but it's bound to happen. So why are we not doing anything? Whether it's the government, and I'm not, I'm more of a libertarian than anything else. Like I don't think the government is the solution for all those things, or whether it's the private sector. We got to get ahead of it. And I feel like some of our AI leaders have sort of abandoned us on that journey. Why? Because they're just trying to appeal to the House, or they want to look like positive, even though they know. Like Dario is actually sort of more of a truth speaker in my mind. So I agree with you. I think he's at least putting it out there, right?
Right. What's next for the VC world as well? In the age of AI, like capital is obviously still very much needed, right? It's an accelerator to buy more GPUs to get some kind of moat. But do you think someday where I have like a bunch of AI agents that can generate product market fit for me insanely fast, and I don't have to pay these agents, but you still think I would need capital?
Yeah, so a bunch of people think that VC is getting refactored. I don't think that VC is getting refactored. I think it's being rewritten from scratch with a completely new architecture. Okay, so just a simple example of my life at Recursive Ventures. I'm a solo capitalist, and so far, solo capitalists have been potentially limited in how much capital they can deploy to help startups by the fact there's only one person doing an investment. But now I have an AI associate working for me, and I can 10x myself with AI, which, when I was a senior associate working on Sand Hill Road, I would do this job of like competitive analysis and go to market and total addressable market and like prepare investment memos, all that stuff. That was 50, 60, 70% of my job. And now I get done. I do all of that with AI in an automated way with a bunch of really amazing tools. So I think VC, I think a few different things are going to happen. First of all, we're going to see, and Mark Andreessen talked about this, we're going to see this bell curve of like the big funds like the Andreessens and Lightspeeds of the world, or Sequoia, are going to get really, really big. They're going to look more like, big PE players, or basically, big investment organizations. Some of them are going to go public. And then in the middle, folks are going to be stuck. And then there's going to be seed people like me, seed VCs, who are going to flourish as experts in their area in that super early stage, mentoring founders. Somebody's got to mentor the founders, right? And I don't think Andreessen Horowitz is going to do that. They're not set up to do that. I am, right? So you're going to see that. And then you're going to see VCs who don't embrace AI are going to be left behind. LPs are going to recognize that like they're just not as productive, they're not as efficient, they don't understand what's going on. So that's the second thing. And the third thing, which I'm betting on, is the rise of influencer VCs. It's already happening. There's other people who have, doing more and more media, but I think what I'm hearing from my founders, from Gen Zs, is like, we don't want to check from Sequoia. I mean, they do. It's a great brand, obviously. They're like, we want to talk to you. We saw you online. We saw you at Charles, show, and we want you as an investor in our company. We want you on our side. I think it's going to increasingly be that. It's going to be less about the brand, less about the big funds, and more about individual influencer VCs who founders are going to want to partner with.
I agree with that. Itamar, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, first of all, follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Twitter. I post daily, and I try to put in a lot of nuggets of VC horror stories, things you should avoid. anti-patterns, how to make sure you don't run into any of these pitfalls with your company, just trying to help out founders. So follow me on LinkedIn and on Twitter. If you want to get in touch with me because you want to pitch me for your company, the best way to do that is get a warm introduction to me through somebody who knows you and knows me. I unfortunately can't review all the decks out there because there's only 12, 13 hours a day I can work. So if you really want to get my attention, and look, I want to talk to everybody. It's just impossible, right? But the best way is, again, get a warm introduction, somebody who knows me and knows you, somebody that would vouch for you and say, hey, Itamar, you should be talking to this phone.
Love it. So that was Itamar and Charles for another CEO Wisdom